Yo, what it is, my gang. Welcome back. Good evening. How are you? I've missed you. I've missed you dearly. I've been traveling. I've been about. Um, but I hope everybody's having a nice little kickoff to their summer. Happy June. Man, I can't believe it's June already. And it's funny, in the skateboard world, I don't know about you guys, but it feels slow to me. We haven't had a lot of big ticket productions to look at. We haven't had that much to go off of, but it's June. So I think, now's as good a time as any to go over my mid-year SOTY picks. You guys liked it when I did that last year, so we're going to run it back. So I've got a little short list of names that I've broken out into a few categories, and let's check them out. Let's look at them together. Let's wrap out. Holy white guys, Batman. So yeah, this is what I got. This is how I have it here. And like I said, I've got three categories. We've got the staff picks, so that's people working inside Fusilli Grind to give you the hottest, best, most tasteful selections, the things that you're supposed to like. Then I've got the miscellaneous slash Chris category. That's guys who I didn't really know how to categorize, but they've had parts out this year, who also happen to be named Chris. And then I've got, five guys that I've put into the actual consideration, quote unquote, actual consideration category, even though I think there's no real clear front runner, although I will tell you who I think that is for the actual Thrasher SOTY selection of 25, who I think that, I've been seeing getting pumped up a little bit here or there. So we will talk about all of it. Let's jump into it with the fun stuff, with the staff picks over on the left side there. As usual, it skews heavily European. It skews heavily ledge, lord, and style-oriented. Of course, right at the top, we've got Big Bob, Bobby DeKaiser. Not too much more to say than I've already said about his work that came out this year. Bob CBC. Go watch Bob CBC. Go watch the Fusilli breakdown of Bob CBC if you really want to get granular with it. We love Bob. Will Bob ever be SOTY? Almost certainly not. Would he want to be SOTY? I highly doubt it. So, Bob SOTY and SOTY in our hearts. Fusilli SOTY every year, pretty much. Same thing with Yalta. We got Yalta just below. Bobby and Yalta, they're basically cut from the same cloth. They're brothers separated by an ocean. And they can do no wrong in my eyes, in our eyes here at Fusilli Grind. So, shout out Bob, shout out Yalta. We've already been over that. Let's get into some stuff that we haven't spoken about yet. Let's talk about Emilio. Let's talk about Emilio Dufour. I've been hearing Emilio's name a lot the past few years, seeing photos, seeing clips, but he really sort of busted all over the place this year. And out of this whole list, he's the only guy who's got effectively two parts out, to this point. Is he a Thrasher SOTY contender? Absolutely not. Is he a Fusilli People's Choice Award half mid-year recipient already? Yes, definitely. Go check out Emilio's solo part, as well as that shared hard body part that he did with Eze Martinez, who's Milton Martinez's fresh brother. Really enjoyed both of those, especially Emilio's solo part. Very good showcase of technical prowess and style and spot selection. He's Uruguayan. He's a Rio Platense bro, just like the Martinez brothers. They're actually Argentinian, but whatever. It seems like it all goes down for these guys in the general Buenos Aires metropolitan area. Super cool. I really liked all the Emilio footage I've seen. I'm looking forward to seeing more. I think hard body is a good fit. Hard body is getting formidable, with these guys on the team. Really am enjoying what they're putting down. So shout out Emilio. Definitely staff pick forever. Fusilli stamp of approval. Shout out. Okay, another staff favorite, Lilian Fev. Fev Lilian is the Insta handle, but I think I've confirmed it is Lilian Fev. Another solo part just came out last week or 2 weeks ago for Rosvet. The first time we saw Lilian, first time I saw Lilian was in the Rosvet Blue video last year. Really liked what he was putting down. Really liked the style, the dress, the tricks. He's a little bit more kind of ride on grind, pole jam meta, but the stuff that he does is properly sick. Some really standout tricks. I think the coolest trick in his solo part, he does a fakey shove with a grab down sort of a medium-sized stack, but it's really cool, filmed really well. Filming, production of the part, all really good. He also skates in the U.S. I don't think I've seen much footage of him skating in the U.S., but he pulled up to California and made good, in my opinion. The frontside biggie over the bump to barrier was sick. The front blunt 270 on the what I will now refer to as the Nikolai switch pop crook ledge, all very sick. I'm a big fan of Fev Lilian. Really sick. Is he SOTY? Is he SOTY worthy? Do the editors at Thrasher even know who he is? I doubt it. And that's why we love him. That's why he's a Fusilli favorite. So shout out Lilian. Really enjoyed that. And just like these other guys, I'm always looking to see more from them. Love it. Okay, last but not least, out of the staff picks category, we've got Georgi Balkhamishvili, if that's how you say it. Georgi, he's been on the scene. You guys know him. You guys love him. He's very good at going viral. He's had a Thrasher cover. Out of the Fusilli staff picks, he's actually closest to actual consideration, I would say. Closest to being in the combo. He had a part come out just at the beginning of the year. Really fun, really cool, really good, very impressive skating, very high level of skating. But that's his thing. He's a funny guy. He's not afraid to take the piss. It seems like he's just kind of out there in Germany on his own, doing his own thing. But he always comes up with a great production. There's always some sort of funny skit through line through it, and this part's no exception. Really good. And one thing that I really loved about the skating is that he just unabashedly did so many frontside crooked grinds, just an unreal number of front crooks. And I think to have the audacity to do that in the era of Jamie Foy is just awesome. I think it's just badass. I think, yes, everybody knows Jamie Foy is the front crook master, whatever, but hey, me too, bitch. And I just love that. I like that attitude. Seems like a good dude. I would love to bro down with this guy, so maybe next time I'm in Berlin, I will drop my boy a line. As if he would want to skate with me. Anyway, love you, Georgie. Wish you all the best. Is he going to be a real contender in the Thrasher sphere, in the Thrasherverse? I don't think so, but maybe they'll give him one of those little squares. Give him a little nod at the end of the year. I could see that. Thrasher, they fuck with him. Obviously, he got the cover. So, up next, let's jump into the miscellaneous / Chris category. These are two uncategorizable men named Chris, who actually categorize themselves perfectly into this little imperfect union here. So, Chris Jocelyn, he's got a part out this year, Plan B part, and standard Jocelyn stuff. Pretty good, I mean, I kind of like Chris Jocelyn, I'm not afraid to say that. I really like his everyman vibe. He's a family man. I saw somebody in the comments somewhere saying that he always looks like he just got off a shift at Jiffy Lube, and he does. He goes to work, spray paints Gma on the grip tape, hucks a giant big spin. What's not to like? I respect it. He's an all-American skateboard legend. Is he ever gonna be in the Thrasher SOTY conversation? I don't think so. But as far as all these guys on this list are concerned, he's put his life on the line more than anybody, as far as I can tell. So, Chris Jocelyn, respect general, all that good stuff. But not he's not gonna be in the consideration. Let's be real. Okay, the other Chris. This is an interesting one. This is a tricky one. Chris Cookie Colburn. Chris Cookie Colburn. He has a VX part out so far this year. Warble is kaput. Warble's done, which I think is good. I think Warble was a little bit too much silliness for how serious of a skater Chris Colburn is. Very talented. I watched that VX part. I think he's kind of just grasping at straws a little bit with some of the tricks in there. Some of the tricks were really good. Maybe it could have been, half a minute or a minute shorter than it was. There were a few clips in there where he's like skating these house spots that are sort of gradual long steps, and he's like trying to fit in as many tricks as he can possibly do on them. I don't think they translate well. I think they sort of fall flat, and end up just kind of looking like a little bit of Andy Anderson smoke and mirrors type shit. But there are some really good tricks. Good ender. Chris Colburn. I mean, we've been seeing this guy for years and years. He's had kind of a tough go in the sponsored skateboarding realm, but I think he'll be all right. It seems like he's a well-meaning young man. So Chris Colburn, yeah, I don't know. There's not that much to go off of this year. All this stuff is basically like guys with one part out, except for my man Emilio. I do feel like there maybe is a front runner, but I would still say it's kind of a dead heat right now. And somebody could break through and within a week, within a month, within 3 to 6 months, this board's gonna look pretty different, I would say. So all that being said, let's get into the final 5. The actual consideration, gentlemen, it's all Americans. Thrasher, SOTY usually skews American. It's almost always an American person. Sometimes they go international with it, but it's usually a good old blue-blooded Yank that hoists the SOTY trophy aloft. Anyway, so let's jump into it. Gus Gordon. Let's start out with the anti-heroes. Gus Gordon and Cody Chapman both have put out singular parts. The other funny thing about this is none of these parts are from a full video. No full length. Not one. I guess you could inject a little flavor and say, Elijah Odom had a pretty good part at the end of that Edgelord video, but the fact that you have to make it through all of that to get to his shit sort of waters it down. But maybe he should have been on this list, and I'll put some clips in. Other than that, all these guys have just been putting out solo parts. Every single one of these motherfuckers. Kind of weird. I mean, but that's where we are, right? That's what everybody goes on the 9 Club and goes on the bunt, and they complain, oh, there's no more full-length videos. It's all solo parts. Everybody forgets about the part in a few weeks. And yeah, I guess that part is true. That's where we're at. That's 2025 for you, baby. Anyway, Gus Gordon, really tidy part for Anti-Hero. Thought it was good. Great tricks. He's got a really fun duality of man thing going on where he can like do eggplants and inverts and shit. But he's also like a front nose god. He's also a heel flip god. Some really good stuff in there. So the back nose blunt on the downtown LA police station quarter pipe thing. Pretty great way to stamp yourself into history there. He's got one of the worst skate park of Tampa headshots available on the internet. So Gus, I would behoove you to get on there and re-up on that. He's a pretty handsome young man, so I think it's time. Get yourself a good headshot going for the next time I make one of these videos. I also have it on good authority that he's a nice young man. He's an East Coast boy, and Big Willie, our beloved Will Klein, used to skate with him sometimes at Cooper in Brooklyn. So, I have a character witness that he's a good dude. Is he SOTY material? Not yet. We haven't seen enough of him yet, but he's got good personality, good trick selection, skates fast, good fit on Anti-Hero. I like Gus. I'm a fan. Cody Chapman. Cody's probably the most recent entrant put out a pretty nice part. I'm gonna be honest. I'm also a fan of Cody Chapman. He's got a little bit of that Grant Taylor vibe that I think a lot of people wish they could have, where he can just sort of skate fast on a gently sloping hill and do ollies and kickflips and stuff, and have it look really, really good. He's got a similar ATV kind of style to Grant as well. He's just gotten on the 1.8 as well, which I think is a good fit, good landing place. I hope they do some stuff with him. He's kind of been a secondary character for the past 10 years or so. You've always kind of seen him in on the session doing stuff. A few clips a year kind of broke through, and everyone goes, oh yeah, that guy's still ripping, still sick. So, Anti-Hero, it seems like he's wearing Converse shoes consistently. I think all that stuff works well in his favor. Does he have the legs to barrage us, with the unfortunate, modern prerequisite for getting SOTY is you have to, put out all this extra footage, which, I know we don't like. I know we wish it could go back to the old way, but I think the cat's out of the bag. Pandora's box is open with that shit. So, is he going to be able to do that? He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who can do that, but nonetheless, I enjoyed his part. It's good fit on 1.8. I'm liking the Anti-Hero roster right now. They got Don, they got Gus, they got Cody, they got Doobie, which you guys know how I feel about that. But anyway, things are looking good for the old 1.8. Up next, it's an SF ting. We've got John Perez. John Perez, who, unlike Gus Gordon, has maybe the best online headshot of any of these Dwaynes. He's rocking the coonskin cap, killing it in that thing. Looks like maybe he's indulged in a few recreational marijuana cigarettes before taking the photo. Good vibes. I like John Perez. Miles Silves's little buddy, but he stepped it up. He put out a big part, with some big tricks. Very San Francisco coded. He's a San Francisco guy. And I was skating with the boys yesterday and, kicking around ideas for this video. And the big homie said, yeah, if there's nobody to give it to, Thrasher could always just give it to, the most SF guy in the running. So, John Perez, he could do it. He's a bit of a footage machine. Been seeing a lot from him in the past, 5 years, I would say. Lots of coverage in the mag. No cover yet that I know of. I don't think so. But he could be a dark horse. I think he's my dark horse for the year. Good part, kickflip, nose grind, Stanford hubba, SF ting, heavy SF vibes. Will Thrasher give it to him? I don't know. Maybe not this year, but look out. He could do it. He could slip in there and surprise everybody, I think. John John DiLorenzo. Is he trolling with this new look? Is he trolling, or is he just literally just vibing, or does somebody need to check up on him? I can't decide which one of those three it is, but either way, John Delo's still at it. Pretty good part. I liked the Papa Roach song. A lot of people, I don't think they get it. I don't think it's coming through for them. I like early aughts, pop punk, new metal adjacent. I think it's a good well to go to. Maybe is it ironic? I don't know, but when you listen to some shit ironically, you start to see why people liked it in the first place, and then you just start to like it authentically. I think that's kind of how it goes. That's how it goes for me, at least. John Delo's good, man, and he put a part out this year. He seems like he's back off of injuries. He's hungry again, and I think we all know, we've seen it before. John Delo, he can make a SOTY push. He's no stranger to that, making the SOTY push. So, I would say look out for more from him. He's bubbling. Very gifted young man, John Delo. Are they gonna give it to back-to-back Floridians? After Foy's second SOTY last year, I don't know. Is there anything to that? The distribution of where people are from? I think so. I think Thrasher likes to pander to everybody somewhat equally with the flavor of each year's SOTY, unless there's somebody who's just so undeniable. So, do I think John Delo's going to get it this year? He's not sticking out enough for me yet, but he could do it. He could get in there he could slide in there, and he's been known to make a SOTY push. That's kind of where I'm gonna leave it with him. All right, Simon Bannerot, Simon Bannerot. Simon Bannerot just hit us with the Spitfire part, and you guys know what that means. You guys weren't born yesterday. If you're dropping a Spitfire part on us, that means you're gonna be dropping more shit throughout the year. That means that the deluxe machine is pushing you. That means that the Thrasher machine is pushing you. So, you ask me today, beginning of June 2025, who's going to take SOTY at the end of the year? My best guess, my front runner, my top pick, it's Simon Bannerot. The Spitfire part was good. As far as Spitfire parts go, I thought the quality of the footage overall was at a pretty high level. Could it have been shorter? Yes, I think there were some things that didn't need to be in there, but the good tricks were good. My theory behind that is that he is burning up the good Lakai footage. I think that he is probably looking towards the future, wanting to dust that Lakai footage. Lakai is in the toilet, as we all know. Oh, so sad. But, he had a shoe on Lakai, a pro shoe. I've never seen it in real life. It probably didn't sell very well, just like any Lakai in the past 5-10 years. And I have it on good authority that he's getting on ASICs. So another power move for ASICs. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a good fit. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, this guy is built for iPath. He's cut from the iPath cloth. I agree on the vibes thing. I think iPath would be a good fit. But with all due respect, I don't think iPath, this new iteration of iPath, has the capital fortitude, the financial wherewithal to handle a guy like this. He had a pro shoe, It was a pro shoe on Lakai, but he's at a level of status where he needs a brand that can really sort of lift him up. Especially if they're going to make a SOTY push for this guy, he needs kind of a big brand with some muscle, with some financial oomph behind him. So I think A6 is a good fit, another good move. Shout out Kaspar and Davis and especially Rob CC. Thank you guys. We love you over here at Facility Grind. So anyway, look out for more from Simon Bannerot. Very talented young man, ATV style ripper. Pacific Northwest guy. I don't think we've had a Pacific Northwest SOTY, since Silas Baxter Neal. So, we're kind of due for that flavor of guy to get in the mix. So, if you ask me today, who's getting SOTY, I'd tell you it's him. Look out for more parts, maybe a cover. As far as I can tell right now, this is Thrasher's darling for the year. But, like I said, it's really still anybody's game. It's kind of been quiet so far. We're at the 6-month mark. Look out for other people to jump in there. This could be a year where a female could jump in the mix and turn a bunch of heads and really get in the conversation. That door is open, I would say, in a big way right now. None of these people right now at this point stand out to me as fully having it in the bag. So that being said, I kind of like how it is this year. There's no one standout peacock jock, look at me attitude right now in the mix. So it's kind of nice. You can sort of pick and choose what you like, different flavors here for anybody's tastes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know below in the comments. Smash that like button, ring that bell, all that good shit. We need some more money over here. Just kidding. I love you guys. I do this for free.